What if your life isn't nearly as random as it feels sometimes? What if, behind the scenes, there's a kind of hidden blueprint, a quiet force that's actually guiding your every move? Well, today, we're diving deep into that exact idea, the living agenda.
I mean, have you ever really, truly stopped and asked yourself that? Seriously, why these choices? Why this routine? Why is your life the way it is? It's a huge question, and it really gets to the core of everything.
So the source material we're exploring today has a pretty fascinating answer. It says your life is unfolding based on an inner blueprint. Now, this isn't about fate or destiny, not at all. It's about a quiet, internal process that's happening inside you, right this very second.
Okay, so what is this blueprint? The source gives it a name, the living agenda. Let's break down exactly what that means.
The best way to think about the living agenda is like the silent operating system for your life. Yeah, it's not a to-do list you write down or anything like that. It's this internal framework that's built from your deepest thoughts, your core beliefs, and the way you fundamentally interpret the world around you.
And this quote, this really gets to the core of it. See, the agenda isn't some external force pushing you around. It's internal. It's subtle, it's personal, and it's what forms the quiet architecture of your inner world.
Okay, so we know what it is. But the big question is, how does this inner blueprint actually turn into the life we see and experience every day? Well, the process is surprisingly direct.
It's really just a simple but incredibly powerful chain reaction. It all starts with your thoughts, your core ideas and beliefs. Those thoughts then shape the choices you make. Then your choices, of course, lead to your actions. And finally, the sum total of all your actions is what creates the reality of your life. It's a straight line from what's inside to what's outside.
This is where it all starts to click. Let's look at some real-world examples of how different internal agendas can create totally different lives.
Okay, check out this contrast. Someone with an agenda of growth is pushed to learn, to explore, to expand their world. This leads to them taking a class, or maybe traveling, creating a life that's constantly changing. On the other hand, someone with an agenda of comfort prioritizes what's familiar. This leads to a life that's really stable and predictable. And look, neither one is right or wrong, but they produce completely different worlds, don't they?
And of course, it's not just about growth versus comfort. Your personal agenda could be driven by ambition, climbing the career ladder. Or it could be all about finding inner peace. Maybe it's guided by a super strict set of personal values or a deep spiritual path. Each one of these drivers creates its own unique blueprint and its own unique life.
So, this leads to the most important point of all. If this agenda is internal, well, that means we have the power to change it. This is the really empowering part of this whole idea.
Our source material is really clear on this. You can't just change your actions on the surface and expect it to stick. That's kind of like slapping a new coat of paint on a house that has a cracked foundation. Real lasting change starts by going deeper, by examining and reshaping the blueprint itself.
So how do you actually do that? It all starts with a little honest introspection. And these questions are basically your tools. You ask yourself, what am I really thinking day to day? What do I truly believe deep down? And this is a big one. What kind of knowledge do I accept, and what do I automatically reject, and why? This is the real work, uncovering your blueprint so you can start to rewrite it.
And that really brings us to the final thought for today. If your life is the house and your agenda is the blueprint it was built from, just take a second to reflect. Look at the life you're actually living and ask yourself honestly, what's written on your blueprint?